Finally, the moment has arrived. Supergirl Season 2's Episode 1 premiere. And who am I? Well... And it is hot in here. Oh. Hi, my name is Michael Garner. I'm a writer, artist, and creator of an online comic book called Visions of the New, which you can find at visionsofthenew.com. I did everything myself, literally the website, everything's me. Hopefully my book will soon be published also on Comixology, but you can get it on Mehcad as a PDF download, also on my site as a PDF download if you want it directly there. But on Mehcad.com, you can actually order a physical copy of my comic book if you want to as well. So, for instance, this is issue 1, Visions of the New, and this is issue 2. That's briefly all I basically want to talk about my comic book right now, because I wanted to actually do this segment as being just a kind of a review of Supergirl, because one of the things about my video blogging here that I'm trying to do is that I just want to talk about things that I really like and things that interest me a lot. And Superman is number one. Anything a Superman properties is the number one thing for me. So the premiere of Supergirl Season 2 is tonight, and I was kind of worried because I didn't know, especially like with things like them losing the budget, because it was like, what, $1 million or whatever the heck it was, I can't remember right now, for each of the episodes when it was on CBS. Then it got downgraded because it went to CW. So I was kind of concerned with it, especially about special effects and everything like that, even though it's all CGI and everything. But I was pleasantly surprised, and hopefully they can keep it up. Like I said, it's hot. It's hot. I'm trying to cool it off there. But I was pleasantly surprised because they actually started off, spoilers by the way, I will talk about everything in this episode briefly. They started off with last season, at the end of last season, we had a rocket ship, or that was a comment at first, but it was a rocket ship that crash landed into National City. Last season, when we saw it, we just basically saw Supergirl and John Jones, Martian Manhunter, changing their costumes and then fly out and go find where this thing crashed. And then Kara opened it up and she went, oh, and had the little look on her face. And a lot of people already know who it is and everything like that, but we don't have to discuss who that person is in the pod. Just somebody who's semi-Kryptonian, but he's actually mono. We know who he is, but I'm not going to go into that. That's another long story. But the thing that impressed me right off the bat, they showed that scene. I'm like, okay, so this is going to recap it. They added in a scene where Martian Manhunter and Supergirl were actually flying through the city trying to catch it, and they're also deflecting it and everything like that. And I was like, whoa, they added all that special effects just to do that. And they added a little important scene where Kara went to go touch the pod, but the power of the pod, it hurt her. She felt pain when she went to go touch the pod. She was like, ah, and like somebody would touch fire. And there's a reason for that. And I don't know if anybody realizes what the reason for that, but I hope people do. But people don't even seem to realize what the last name Danvers came from. And I could discuss that in another video, because it kind of gets on my nerves when people are like, oh, she's kind of like Ms. Marvel. No, yeah, but no. Danvers was, it was an important part of Supergirl's history, but not the Supergirl that we know now, who's from Krypton. A Supergirl who was from another dimension and was a shapeshifter like John Jones, who actually was in a Death of Superman and everything. Funniest thing about the episode that I thought was, obviously I love it when they do references to the past, and they did one with Kara's the replacement for Kara as assistant to Cat Grant, and the person's name, Calista Flockhart, Cat Grant, shouted it out when she was asking for her assistant. She's like, Miss Tessmacher! And if everybody who knows that from the Christopher Reeve days of Superman, Miss Tessmacher was Lex Luthor's basically kind of girlfriend slave type thing from Superman 1, Superman 2. And it was kind of funny to actually hear like Calista Flockhart channel what Gene Hackman did in the original days when he played Lex Luthor. She literally like belted it out, like put it right in her gut and just like just said it right all out. Miss Tesmaga, and I was laughing I was just laughing my ass off on that. Excuse the profanity, but that brought me back. What else? Other than Miss Tessmacher, everything else I was just kind of happy with. I'm happy with the actor that they chose. I believe his name is Derek. I should know this because I watch Teen Wolf religiously, and I love Teen Wolf, and I thought they did I think they do a really good job of that series. The thing is that honestly, when he was in Teen Wolf, I wasn't a big fan of his acting, but physically, like he's a model. He's basically a model. And when they casted him for Superman for Supergirl, I thought, well, perfectly, like, physically, he looks exactly like Superman. That's fine. He needs to bulk up a little bit more, but people say that about everything, and they said that about Brandon Routh and blah, blah, blah. And now Brandon Routh's Adam, so we don't have to worry about that. I think that he did a good job. I was kind of surprised because I was kind of worried about that because I thought that his acting wasn't as strong in Teen Wolf, even though I liked his character, but I was just like, his acting is not that strong in comparison to the other actors who were around him, despite the fact he was the alpha of Teen Wolf. But I really thought that he did a good job, and he made up for any lack of like looking smaller or anything like that physically. And he basically played Superman the way it was. A lot of smiles. Like, I don't think his face went to a frown except for one time when he was talking to Manhunter, which we'll go in now, when we find out that there's an actual little bit of a tension between them, because originally when Superman used to work with him, they discovered kryptonite together, and John Jones basically took that kryptonite and brought it to the DEO, and that's the reason why Superman will not basically work with them, because they have that substance there, which is capable of obviously killing Kryptonian, which would mean Kara, which would mean him, at any time. And we've obviously seen it last season where they augmented it into bullets and they did all these different things with it, so they weaponized kryptonite pretty much. I like that part, that they put the part in the story, because I thought it was going to be more about Alex and everything like that having an issue, because that's what I heard. And supposedly not in this episode at least, probably will show up in the next episode, where Alex wasn't really the person who was kind of a little bit angry or resentful of Superman. What else did happen in this episode? There are more references, like Lena Luthor, who was introduced in the season, was saying, like, when she was in the helicopter, safest way to travel, which I thought was, another Christopher Reeve reference. And then they also did that in Superman Returns, but we're going to forget about Superman Returns, okay? I have issues with that, but we won't go there. What characters? What else about this episode? I don't know. I was overall happy with it. I was just happy to see the visuals. I meant, like, it's not going to be like what they did in CBS, but they do it better, and they do it and you can tell that there's going to be a darkness that's going to happen pretty soon with the whole Supergirl franchise and everything like that. And I think that CW has always done the darker parts of characters and everything very well. They're the ones who pioneered it with, like, Buffy the Vampire Slayer and everything like that. I hope that even in the season that they get darker and they bring up different things, because one of my favorite shows, Superman, like going into the whole Superman genre, was Superboy when I was little, and that was a syndicated show for about 4 years. And obviously they didn't have the special effect capabilities back then, but they did a lot of interesting things on Superboy, and they also had him go up against a lot of supernatural foes like vampires, werewolves, golems, witches, all these different things. And you'd think that wouldn't be a great thing for Superman, but it was obviously supernatural and kryptonite are one of his biggest weaknesses. Just like Silver Banshee, which they didn't explain in Supergirl, but hopefully it'll be explained this season. The fact that it's harder for him to fight these things, so these are challenges that he can go through, and these are challenges that Carl can go through. And especially since they already introduced Silver Banshee and everything like that, that brings a supernatural element already there. Throughout this episode, I was really happy with Calista Flockhart, and we all know by now that she's not going to be able to stay on the show in every single episode, so they already kind of given her a way out. It seems like she's basically going to go on a sabbatical or something like that and get away to discover herself, to discover what she wants to improve about herself and her life, because she feels like she's kind of hit a plateau, and she said that in the episode. Alex Danvers, I really loved. They kept her consistent and everything like that. Gave her a kick-ass fighting scene with her up against Corbin, future Metallo, in the next episode. I was just like, yeah, I was just surprised. Like, they even had like Kara and Supergirl and Superman holding up a building, and you might be like, oh, well, that doesn't look that great. But you know what? For a TV show, that looked really damn good. I have an issue a little bit with. I know that they created the Superman costume and the cape to actually morph into his costume like that, and they put the yellow line there to differentiate him to say that this universe's Superman. That's perfectly fine. And that originally, if they just touched it to the S shield, it would have been the Eradicator Superman from the Reign of the Supermen. But the only problem I have with that is that sometimes it kind of folds really badly, even though it's like CGI. That's the reason why they did it. It just looks weird. But they managed to hide it in most of the scenes in the episode, which I was glad. And speaking about that, getting away from the special effects for a minute, I want to go to one thing that I did really notice that I was hoping that they would do. I love the whole girl empowerment thing and everything like that. I love female superheroes and everything like that. But last season was a little bit overdone, and it was too much. But I expected that because it was CBS. But this is now CW. And I noticed that they toned it back a little bit. They just pulled it back just a bit. But they still kept it there so that they can keep the viewers from CBS at CW and still liking the show. I think that they did a good balance of that. And you can tell that they're pulling back a little bit. And I don't know how this is going to kind of round up with the crossovers and everything like that, how this is going to impact this. This is basically just Supergirl universe right now. And they've kind of been doing that with each one of the shows, with Arrow, with The Flash. Legends of Tomorrow is going to be different. We know that that's going to be the one that's going to hinge almost everything else. It used to be that most people thought it was going to be Supergirl, but that wouldn't make any sense. When Legends of Tomorrow are traveling through time, and most likely they can go through a multiverse. That's my theory, but we'll see what happens. I don't really like to speculate too much. I just like to see where it goes and see how they do it. And I'm very happy with this first episode of Supergirl. I hope they keep it up this way. Yeah, that's basically it. And next episode, we'll see Superman again in it. And I'll be happy to see that because my number one character. Yeah, I didn't really have any major complaints about the episode. It was basically what I wanted it to be, and they kept the quirkiness and everything in there too. And some people may hate that, but hey, that's what makes her likable and everything like that. The quirkiness and everything about the character, and even though it's kind of different from the current comic books and everything, but they've made their own little stamp for the show. So that's it. If you want to leave some comments or subscribe to my page, just write the comments below or subscribe to my page. I greatly appreciate it. I will try to keep more updates on videos like this and things that I like, and especially of the Superman universe. And I will be doing future videos explaining more about my comic book characters, the ones that I create and draw, and anything that's behind me right now. And give more details about that. But I'm going to do that in separate videos now because I can't fit everything in one. So until then, have a good night and keep watching.